welcome to a bootleg review of an SH Figuarts Kamen Rider. In this case, it is Rising Mighty Kuuga. On the left hand side, we have the official box, of course, with the Bandai and Tamashii logo, and on the right hand side there we have a poorly photoshopped no logo version of Kuuga right there. But if you see the bottom left here, the text is still there. It still says Bandai 2016, made in China. Well, yeah, it is made in China. So yeah, and the overall box art is pretty much copied exactly as it is. However, I think they ran out of paint or ink in the printers, because this box is a little bit more red than that one. I think they ran out of like blue ink or something, and the overall image is darker than the original. SH Figuarts have been removed from the side of the box there. Here it still says Masked Rider Kuuga Rising Mighty, just like the official one. Shiny, shiny. And shiny, shiny. So that's still the same. Top doesn't have SH Figuarts and whatnot. There's no sellotape or sticker on the side of the box, unlike the original. SH Figuarts logo has been removed, so it's the Toei logo. It's like a Hong Kong shipment, so it has some extra stickers on it, but the Japanese shipment wouldn't have that. So the photos are the same. Of course, the photos are from the original, and they didn't take new photos. Key out some stuff and just move things around just a little bit. Barcode is different too, so that's something. So anyway, let's open this up. By the way, the box feels like it's the same material. It's not like more flimsy or anything, so it might as well be the same type of box. Now there's definitely cheaper material because it's much easier to put some scratch marks in it. So here's the thing, inside the box they still have the actual like text, like what the New Real Bone series is about. It's a lot more blurred and just darker in general. And there's some Bandai markings there at the bottom here, some numbers, production numbers I assume. And it says here produced by Tamashii Nations, but of course Tamashii Nations is removed and they just aligned produced by to the side. So it's produced by who? No one knows. So the plastic tray of the figures are the same, but this is where the sellotape comes in. This one's actually taped on the sides here on the tray itself, whereas this one was on the box. So this one of course is a good, like more solid tray, so I can just do that, pull the entire Kuuga thing out, and then just go pop, and if I want to put it back in, just go pop, and it stays quite well and it doesn't fall out. Whereas the bootleg, that's well, it didn't cut the edge there, so I can't, like, it's not that easy to pull that out. Okay. This plastic tray is way more flimsy. You see it's already completely warped in multiple places. The like the plastic used mold pattern there is also a lot more blurred out, and I can't actually pop this tray back in. They can't even mold the tray correctly. That's why I need the tape, and that's slightly worrying. So I just peeled one side of the tape, and then Kuuga can fall out. So let's look at the rest of the accessories first. So just like the original one, we still have a bunch of hands here. We have the fists, we have the thumbs up hand, relax hands, spray open hands, henshin hands, and item / bike holding hands. We still get the instruction sheet on the bootleg. The paper feels a little bit thinner because it's slightly softer. The Masked Rider Kuuga logo there is slightly more pixelated. I'm not sure if I can show that on camera, but I'm gonna try my best. Let me just focus all the way on this. Then you can see like the slanted lines there, has little pixelated dots on it. Perhaps I'll take a photo and put it here. And you can see this paper has a nastier black print, but otherwise I can't really tell any difference between this and the original one when I flip it open and look on the insides. It's just softer paper. The print is sharp inside, so I don't know why it's all pixelated on the front. Yeah, if you don't tell me like which one's which, I'll probably get them mixed up quite easily. But this one's still definitely the softer paper. Oh, and the QR code's missing. I guess that's how you tell the difference easily. Okay, so I took a close look at these hands, and for the most part, they are the same. But what I think they did is that they cast the original toy and just molded it into here. Everything about the bootleg hands is they're from the same mold, but the first thing that I did notice was that the red on these hands were not painted properly. So if you just take a close look, you see a lot of these reds, they don't reach the edge of the I guess hand guard. So quite a lot of them don't reach the edge. The patterns on the hands are blurred out and almost missing in some cases. So the little armor pads on the fingers are hard to see, as well as having a lot of these extra plastic runoffs from the molding injection. So they didn't sand those down, they didn't cut it properly or whatever. And as for the plastic itself, it doesn't feel softer than the original. And just to, quickly look at the proper ones again, you see how much sharper it is in terms of paint, molding, and in general just detailing. So you can just see those there. So here we are. At first glance, you're like, oh, the bootleg looks alright, and then you take a closer look and you go, oh. So that's the thing. Now, I'll give it some pluses first. First of all, the compoundality is still pretty decent, but there is a flaw with their eyes. They did keep most of the transparent bits as like the original. For example, the ankh, like the belt center, that's still transparent. And the little red dots on the feet there are also transparent. However, they didn't use transparent plastic for the arm red dot, so that's missing. So, right. And the base black, like the black bits of the plastic, that base body, still seems pretty solid. But that's the thing, that's the only piece of, like, I guess solid plastic they use on this entire figure, because everything else becomes cheap, and that's where they save the money, and that's how they can sell it to you for such a lower price. But let's start with the head and zoom right in there. So the transparent red on the helmet is still pretty nice, but one of the first problems is you see that huge hole in the eye there for some reason. Not really sure what that is, because the original obviously doesn't have that, but I'm thinking it's because maybe the original has an extra piece of plastic in there or something that's molded in a different color, perhaps. Whereas here they just solid, let's just have one single piece of transparent red. Maybe they couldn't pry that apart without breaking it or whatever, but there's a huge hole down there and it's very distracting, especially when you look at it from the side. From the front, it's not so much noticeable. In fact, I only noticed it when I got it. I've seen it in the shops before, but I didn't pay attention, so I didn't notice it, but it's very noticeable now. The gold color on the horns is slightly more flat, whereas this one's a bit more yellow than the official one. And another thing that they've done here is they completely botched the ear piece. It looks completely different. It's like they just gave up and just, there's a bump there, just put a random bump. It's completely different and just doesn't fit with the original Kuuga. Lots of more marks on this. You can probably like remove that, I don't know, rub it or something. And you can see the seam line there, of course, on the helmet is much more noticeable. And that's going to be a running theme with the overall figure, is that a lot of extra seam lines show up because it's just not put together as well as the official one. Yeah, moving down there, the neck seems very similar, but let's talk about the chest. For example, this piece here just doesn't go down. It doesn't want to plug into the rest of the torso, so that's distracting. The gold lining on the entire figure is just a bit more messy compared to the original, but kudos there, they did still manage to mold in the Gorongi text, and for the most part I can see all of that text there, but it's again, for example, this one's just, some of them are just messed up. Down to the arms, they couldn't get the complete mold of the shoulder pads, same on both sides. Not only do we have an ugly like molding injection peg from there, just extra plastic, this rim, this bump there on the shoulder pad is missing from the top of the bootleg. So it just means it's not painted entirely. It's not painted all the way. Another thing about his red area on this body, you can see that the color is actually different. Maybe it's hard to see on camera, but it's a bit more orange on the bootleg. That's because the bootleg didn't paint the red area. That's just the molded plastic. There's no paint on it, whereas the official one, they painted metallic red on top of it to make it look super duper nice. And when you look underneath the shoulder pads, you notice that the plastic that they use on the armor is much thinner. I don't know if that's because it didn't paint it or it's thinner plastic in general, but it feels slightly soft, it feels cheaper, it feels like packaging plastic, like just nasty plastic. You just pick that up, play that out. Wow, that's a bootleg. Perhaps like plastic similar to Chinese lanterns, but slightly tougher. So it's more transparent, it feels more fragile, and yeah. Back to the back of the figure though, one thing that they did bother copy is the tramp stamp behind the armor. I was like, why? You've been hiding and keying them away from all of the paperwork and yet you still put the special serial number in B China because B is Bandai. So what are you doing? I have no idea what you're doing. Okay, so coming down to there, I'll notice that this Bootleg Kuuga's arms are actually longer than the official one, but that's just because that the joint, they couldn't peg it, the elbow joint, in properly. It doesn't go all the way in. So what you got is a bigger gap between the upper and lower arm, and it just looks a bit weird. But it's not too bad, but you definitely notice it when you see the real one next to you and go, oh, did he dislocate his arm or something? So let's move down to the belt, and the belt uses a full piece of soft plastic. They did keep the transparentness, but you see that the yellow paint, they just gave up halfway, like, oh, we ran out of paint, forget it, this is not paint the rest of it. Otherwise than that, again, and just the differences is just that it's a bit more blurry compared to the official one, and this is still soft rubbery plastic, and they didn't mold it properly, so you've got all these extra plastic on the side that you're gonna have to trim if you get this figure. Also, the molding on the grungy there, as well as on the other side, it's just looks ugly. Like, it's deeper, but it's kind of messed up and warped, and so goes the rest of the belt. And also notice some parts of this body, the bits of like extra glue mat that they just stripped on it. Like, screw it, who cares? What's quality control? Hey, these are cheap. That's the thing they did. Alright, so back to the arm there. You see that very cheap plastic. They didn't even glue the gold ring around on the right side, and they didn't paint the plastic. So you got a faded arm look, as well as this piece on the wrong angle. Same close look at this. If you look at this arm there, look, that's completely crap. They had a bad mode that they were like, yeah, who cares? Still has articulation, and it's not breaking apart anymore, but there you go. Same with the lower arm as well, another bad mold. And this, like I said, this piece is just not molded in the right angle, and you got lots of scrap match and stuff on there. This is like battle damage Kuuga, I guess you can consider him. And the other arm, same, it's just rough. It's not cracked or anything, but this gold paint is just super duper rough. Oh, and about the hand, well, look at that bad mold. Just a bump there. Actually, you can't really use these hands as replacement because the peg on this figure is smaller, and so it's really hard to put the bootleg hands on the official. You can put the official hands on the bootleg and they're a bit looser, but they work. But you can't do it vice versa unless you sand them in or something. So yeah. So you can sort of get replacement, but they're gonna look bad, and they're not gonna fit too well, and I wouldn't want to damage the official figure for the sake of using a bootleg hand. Just don't do that. Alright, so moving down to the legs, again, this gold is a lot flatter than the official one, and the red is actually painted alright on the knee pads, so that's cool, I guess. So I'll move the official one now because there's nothing left to really compare, because everything here is just a bit more rough. But the black plastic is slightly shinier than the official one. It's not as matte. I guess they had like less paint procedures on the bootleg. The Grongi text there is still like readable if you can read, audible if you can read Grongi. It is there. Again, like I said, the transparent red here is okay. The overall leg quality on this particular figure is not too bad. It's pretty decent, so that's cool. Until look at the bottom of the feet. The Kuuga feet is there, but you can see that this piece is not glued in place properly. Neither is the other foot. And you see one's shiny, one compared to the matte, so it just stands out way too much. So it doesn't seem to affecting his posing ability that much. He's still quite stable and can stand quite well. You can see, look, I just do that and he's already standing. So whatever the case is, he's doing alright. So alright, let's see how well his articulation is as a bootleg. So he's got all of the exact same joints since he's a rough copy of the official. So whatever the official one had, he's going to have. So double neck joint, and just like the official, it does move quite smoothly, moves quite well, and full rotation there, so that's good. Shoulder pads do come out of the way with a hinge and ball peg, just like the official. So arms can go up, down. The double like socket arm there does work. This one's really tight joint though, but it does work. So full rotation there. And this one's a tight one. This one there. First one I got out of the box, I wouldn't even turn, so I was like, I'm gonna break it. And even here, if you just listen to this, that's gonna break. That's like softish plastic that eventually it'll stretch and snap. That's what it feels like. So who knows? But seems to be working now. Oh, I'm gonna stop that now. That sounds. That squeaky sounds probably pretty bad, more or less, especially if you're wearing headphones and stuff. Now they didn't cheap out and use plastic here, they're still using metal pegs for the joints there, and it does seem to move very well. Like I said, it's not plugged all the way in properly, and I can't seem to push it in anymore now. It doesn't seem to be breaking, but I'm not going to bother trying it. But yep, it does that. Still have this joint smooth, just like the official one, and the hand is on, like I said, a smaller peg and swivel, and just here you see that the peg doesn't sit like snug with each other, the peg joint there. But it seems to be working fine. Let me just remove that hat there. And just watch this like snap right away. Okay, so that does have the rotating peg swivel. That's cool. Just put this hand back on there. Oh, there we go. So torso, forward, sideways, sideways. Yep, all the movement is there. So you got the like this arm joint in there, as well as ball peg at the bottom. And the feet goes up, down, sideways. Oh, that's a little bit rough. That feels a bit rough, but it's working. So, oh, squeaky sounds, don't like that. And then you got the knee joint, same double knee, and foot goes up, foot goes down, toe goes. Supposed to go up. Oh, that's tight, but it does go there. Once I put a bit of plastic there, don't know why. That goes down. Can you tippy toe? No. Leg goes sideways and sideways. So yeah, every single piece of articulation from the original one is here, and honestly, he's not that hard to pose. I mean, look, I'm just gonna put him in a dramatic pose right now. See how hard it is. But, I mean, it's a little bit tougher than the original one. So it feels stuck in the leg, but he can do it. Also, I mean, mostly the leg joint's a bit more tight, but overall, there we go. Dramatic pose, Kuuga bootleg. So yeah, he's pretty much just a slightly rough clone of the original figure. They cheaped out on the plastic quality, the quality control, as well as the overall mold is not that great. Articulation is also a bit tight, and some of the bits feel like it might snap eventually, but as of right now, it seems to be doing fine. And for the price it's going for, if you can't afford the original figure, this one's not that bad. Now, of course, that also varies on your luck, because since the quality control is crap, you might get one with more cracks, more splits, or you might get one that's better than the one I have right here and just looks perfectly fine. In fact, I have seen some of the other ones in the shops where they have a box just open. They probably picked the best one out of the bunch, and it looked alright. There's still obviously going to be certain differences, such as the shoulder pattern and the little weird hole thing in the eye, but otherwise, if you're lucky, you have a pretty good figure for such a low price. There's also, there's been bootlegs of Marvel. A lot of new Marvel stuff has been bootlegged. There's been bootlegs of Mafex figures, Figma, some of the Dragon Ball Z Figuarts. And as for Kamen Rider, there's also the Amazing Mighty version of Kuuga that's been bootlegged, because it's pretty much the same mold almost. As well as the Kabuto figure, the new version of Kabuto figure, that's been bootlegged as well. No Dark Kabuto though, even though that would have been an easy swap, but I guess they don't have the budget or technology to print the technology lines and patterns on the armor, so maybe that's why they haven't done it. So yes, for the low price of pretty much like at least a third of the original or less, and cheaper than say Black Series figures, this is pretty good. This is definitely better than Black Series. I mean, yes, this is a bootleg of a good figure, but it's still crazy to think that a knockoff figure can have better price per quality value of something official from Hasbro. Shame on you, Hasbro. Just shame on you. I mean, we're so used to like hollow figure bootlegs and crazy 8-in-1 packs of superheroes where they just smash to bits, but here we have one that's pretty decent. So as always, if you found that useful, please consider clicking the like button, subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and share this video with other people out there as well. You can support this channel by turning ad block off or heading over to Patreon and doing it that way. I'll be doing a few more of these bootleg action figure videos in the near future. I have a Figma bootleg next to me right now that I'm going to film, and I'm also interested in picking up some of the Mexico 112 bootlegs, NECA bootlegs, and I guess a few other ones if I just bump into them and find them. And of course I have a bunch of knockoff Lego videos on this channel as well. But if you like real stuff, then of course I've also reviewed official Lego, Maker Blocks, Figuarts, Figma, and plenty of other DX toys as well. So hopefully you can check those out. They're all in their own playlists if you like doing that. As always, take care, have a nice day. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye now.